Hello and welcome in episode number 79 of Pod by the River, presented by Beyond the Monster. I'm your host, Hogdale. I'm joined today by two of the most electric men in all of Red Sox podcasting. First being JustinMLB. Justin, brother. How you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling great, man. Fucking emotional roller coaster these last couple days, and it is really good to hear your voice finally in a very, very positive light. I love it.
Fuck yeah, brother. And we're also joined by man who recovered from the plague, Ed Hand. Ed, how you doing, man?
I am so happy that you're hosting this one. I'm still pretty wiped out. Listen, I sound sick most of the time. Feeling sick on top of sounding it sucks. So yeah, no, I'm glad to be back. You guys killed it with the Lou episode. Shout out to Brady, not on this episode, but he was awesome in it. Yeah, no, good to be back.
Gentlemen, something happened today. Which you couldn't say for like multiple other days of this week. The Bostonian Red Stockings went out, put their nuts on the table, and got their guy. This is a guy we have been hearing about since the trade deadline last season. Garret Crochet. The Boston Red Sox have acquired Garret Crochet for Kyle Teal, Winkelman Gonzalez, Braden Montgomery, and Chase Mydroth, Ed's favorite guy.
Yeah, you did not put those in order of their value.
No one
could. Winkelman being second. It's like you announced the best part of it, then the worst part of it, and then the next best part.
Well, see, here the deal with that, Ed, is that all these players are dead to me, so I could give a fuck about their value. There's a 0% chance this goes poorly for us. It's the White Sox. But guys, how are we feeling about the trade? How are we feeling? Justin, I will start with you, brother.
When I saw it was Kyle Teal, I was a little shocked that it wasn't going to cost Marcelo Meyer. The package overall is the ceiling on it is pretty damn good for the White Sox. But the Red Sox farm system is so deep and so like talented that they're going to feel it a little bit. But they didn't really lose any main components of their core. They still kept Meyer and Christian Campbell and obviously Roman Anthony. And it's crazy how much that Christian Campbell, his surgence since this time last year has really changed things, because if he never had that surgence, or if he never had, that whatever you want to call it, I don't know if they're even willing to give up Kyle Teal for Crochet.
No, dude, and honestly, like I was also a bit surprised at like the return on the White Sox end, because obviously there was that report a couple days ago that like, oh, the White Sox were still asking for Roman Anthony.
Yeah,
and I think my response to that on Twitter was like, Craig Breslow probably shit himself farting into their microphone as a response. Because, like, yeah, that's the appropriate response.
Yes.
But I got to say, I'm patting myself on the back here because I'm an egotistical motherfucker. And, like, I just happen to be correct all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But the Red Sox we saw in the media, like, they appeared to pivot to, like, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Like, they're going to trade for one of their young arms. And I called this immediately. I was like, this is a negotiation tactic. They are showing the White Sox we are not beholden on only Garret Crochet. We are willing to go to another team and get a different young arm. And it worked. It worked perfectly. The White Sox still got a decent return, like a good return. But in terms of like the Red Sox, me personally, I'm thrilled that this is what we gave up. Like, because I was terrified that they were going to throw Tristan Casas in on this. I mean, if they threw Willier in, I would have understood it. But like even on the White Sox end, I wouldn't have understood it, because like you're going to stink for 5 years. Why are you wasting Willier Abreu's career? So yeah, you give him Kyle Teal, who's like a high upside young catcher, very good player. You give up Braden Montgomery. We just drafted him 5 seconds ago. He's been a Red Sox for 5 seconds. He's probably going to come in like 2027. Like that doesn't match our timeline. We're trying to win now. Yep. So like, yeah, there's a good chance he'll be really good, but I'm not crying about it. Like, okay, bye, see ya. And then Winkelman Gonzalez is a reliever, and Chase Mydroth could be good, and he'll probably start next year for them, and he could be a useful piece.
Yeah. I guess I'll interject here because I'm not just the Noah Song guy. I'm the prospect guy, and I know way more about these guys than I have any business knowing. I think that like Justin said, I was a little surprised to see Teal's name in it. I would have. I'm not talking about pure talent level here, but just from depth in the system, I would have expected Meyer to be a little more likely just because they have a ton of middle infielders and they don't really have any catching depth. Like the top catching prospect immediately becomes Johan Fran Garcia, who is at single A. He's 19 years old. He is away, and he's coming off of torn ACL, so he's got a ways to go. I don't really think Nathan Hickey is an MLB catcher, so there's just no catching depth. Teal was close, and they can't just sign someone off of free agency. I think the best guy, I mean, Carson Kelly is still left, but he's been linked to the Cubs. And then there's Elias Diaz, who maybe, I don't know, he's been playing with the Rockies mostly. Like,
I think he's that bad. I think he's like,
yeah, but he's Elias Diaz, you know.
No, I know.
You know. So I think of that group, that was the one where I was like, okay, but I don't have a problem with it. You have to trade good players to get good players, because even if the Red Sox don't have a lot of catching in the system, you know what else they don't have? Ace level pitching. And that's what Crochet is. So sometimes you have to make uncomfortable moves to get things that you need. Everything's an overpay now. You look at what Max Fried got. You look what Corbin Burns is probably going to get. You look what Nathan Eovaldi just got $75 million for 3 years. The guy's on his second Tommy John surgery, and he's pushing into his late 30s. You're not going to get guys at what you think is reasonable. If it was reasonable, if it was fair, you wouldn't have a chance at getting them anyway.
Well, but yes, it's free agency. That's what free agency exists for.
Exactly.
You're going to get overpaid because there's 30 teams ideally looking for your services as a free agent.
Yeah, like, you're not the only guy that's trying to get these guys, and they know that. Their agents know that. The other teams know that. But when you look at the other guys that they traded, Braden Montgomery, as you said, they just drafted him, but they have so much outfield depth, and not even just the Roman Anthonys of the world. Christian Campbell plays second base. He can also play outfield. And Justin Garcia just got added to the 40-man, just had a season where he emerged a lot more than I think people are giving him credit for, just because of the other top prospects there. But this is a guy that shot 3 systems in the 3 levels in the minors. He went from single A to high A to double A by the end of the season. He was an all MILB player first team, which Teal wasn't, by the way. I think Campbell was, but I don't think Anthony was either, which doesn't mean a ton. It's the minors, but it's still, I look at going through 3 levels in one season. That means a lot more to me than any accolade does. So you can give up Montgomery just because it's an excess of riches. The same is true for Chase Meidroth, who, you guys know how much I love Meidroth. He was probably my favorite prospect in the system. The guy has an absurd eye. I think that his eye might be even better than Tristan Cassis's, but he doesn't have the same power. Great contact, great bat to ball. Look at his walk to strikeout rate. I think he had almost double the amount of walks as strikeouts. He broke the all-time record for the Red Sox AAA affiliate for walks in a single season this year. Wow. The dude's a batting champion in the making, but he just wasn't going to play here. You're going to put him at second base over Campbell? You're going to put him at shortstop? You're going to put him at third base? No, he didn't have a pathway to playing time. Guess what? He gets that with the White Sox now. He's immediately their third baseman, I think. I think he really should be. I mean, they already lost Yohan Moncada, who barely played this year, but that's a guy who was ready for the majors and good. There's a space for him now. That's awesome. And then Wickelman Gonzalez, you had to get a 40-man spot for Crochet anyway. Wickelman he's still in double A. Seems like he's probably going to be a reliever, which is fine, but undersized relievers, there's not exactly a monopoly on those, like, great, fine, he's fine. There's a reason the White Sox took him, but people have surpassed him in the system. Hunter Dobbins, who was added to the 40-man, easily already surpassed him. You've got Richard Fitz. You drafted Peyton Tolley. You've got guys that are a lot more interesting and a lot more likely to stick as starters. So I think that it costs something, but you got something, and that's how you have to do business. You're not going to get guys for free. You're not going to get guys that are the most convenient trade for you. Things are going to get a little painful, and that's okay. You have to do that to build a competitive roster and get things that you need. I just want to add also, I know I've been going on for a bit here, but I just want to add, this is why I don't complain about them drafting consecutive shortstops in the first round or whatever people like to bitch about.
Yeah.
Like, it gives you got more guys that you can trade and just get good players, get good talent, and turn that talent into other stuff if you don't have a spot for them.
Frankly, one of the things I'm really happy about in this Crochet trade is that, like, the prospects that weren't like the super high end ones that they moved, like, weren't the ones that are like, you know, on the lower end, but like are extremely high ceiling. Like the fact that you didn't move a guy like a Franklin Arias, you didn't move a guy like a Miguel Blay, like, to me that's invaluable, because now you still like have those bullets in the chamber if you do want to trade them eventually, or you just keep them because maybe they'll be a part of like a second wave.
Yeah, or you never know who's going to go through what Christian Campbell went through. I mean, a guy like Miguel Blaze, would anybody be shocked if he just like went absolutely fucking bananas this coming year and all of a sudden is like interjecting himself into making this a big four again? I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, it's probably not going to happen, but I mean, at the same time, if it did happen, I mean, I'd be like, okay, that kind of makes sense. But for me, the weirdest part about all of this, and I mean, obviously getting a guy like Crochet is awesome. I know we've said our fair share of what we think about Garret Crochet and some of the stuff that he said in the past while he was on the White Sox, but I think we'll get into that in a little bit. But for me, the weirdest thing is going to be like whenever we're like, you know, like, oh, Connor Wong, or like, you know, looking for a backup catcher, like for instance, like James McCann. All of a sudden we can't say anymore, oh, I guess, you know, the path for Kyle Teel to come up is right there. Like, we can't say that anymore. So it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of pivot. If they pivot towards like Sean Murphy, if he's available, that'd be cool. And I mean, even just like looking at Elias Diaz, his defensive numbers are great. They're really, really good. I didn't know that they were as good as what they are. Framing, he's in
say, how's his framing?
Framing 77 percentile. Caught stealing above average 77 percentile. Pop time 87% percentile. He's not that good of a blocker, but I feel like when you do those other things really, really well, I mean, as a backup catcher, I'd be more than happy with that. So
it's also worth being said, he's not a good blocker, but he's still 17 percentile points better at it than Connor Wong.
Oh yeah. It's
to put
not
in perspective.
Close.
To put in perspective, Connor Wong was minus 13 on his blocks above average. Elias Diaz is minus 2.
Yep. Yeah.
But Wong was transcendently bad at it.
So it all of a sudden you're looking at, instead of having a catcher and a backup catcher, you're gonna go. Well, I mean, I'm talking like he's on the team. He's not, but if they were to go after him, you're going into the season with an offensive focus catcher and a defensive focus catcher. And I don't think that's really a problem. I think that's actually a pretty good thing to have, because you can, you know, depending on the situation, you know, you can insert a catcher here or there. You know, I was on record saying that I'd rather trade Meyer before I traded Teel, just because it was nice to have a guy that was going to finally come up and be that catcher of the future. And he looks the part. I mean, he looks like your Adley Rutschmans of the world, I think. But these are, like Ed said, these are the necessary sacrifices you have to make in order to get a guy that could very well get Cy Young votes next year and beyond.
Adding on to that, this is like the part 2 of the Garret Crochet conversation. So you've obtained Garret Crochet. He's on record as of last year, I will not pitch unless I have an extension. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to put forward the idea, where are we sitting on the extension? Because me personally, I'll start this one out. The Red Sox would be completely, utterly, entirely fucking brain dead stupid to not extend him by next week. Like, this is, you extend him now while his value is at its lowest. What do you give him? You probably do a deal where it's like a range, like bare minimum, like say like his floor is like 100 million, and like maybe just give him incentives to like go up as high to like 180 to even 200 mil, like genuinely over like an 8-year span.
I think 200 mil has to be the number. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause like, to me, like, they believe in this guy. You gave up a good chunk of prospects for him. They think he has amazing stuff. Obviously, Breslow and Bailey, they know pitching. You put your nuts on the table. It's time to solidify it. Because if this guy is as good as you think he's going to be, he's going to be asking for $35 million a season as early as next year.
Yeah.
So sign him now. You lock him up now. Have the courage of your conviction.
You go into making this trade knowing that an extension is going to be the first thing you guys talk about as soon as he walks in the door. I mean, that couldn't have been overstated enough in the public eye, in what he said and what everybody was reporting on. You make this trade knowing that you will be talking an extension, which is pretty good because, I mean, a lot of times, there's players out there that simply just don't want to talk extensions. They have their eye on free agency and they're stuck to it. Garret Crochet doesn't seem to be like that person. So I kind of agree with both of you guys. You start at around, I mean, the years I would probably be comfortable saying 7, 8. Maybe
he's 26 years old.
If Max Fried is getting 7 years,
8.
218, do you? I mean, he has to at least get 7 years. Then
that's what I'm saying. It's gonna be at least 7 years. I think you start at 7, and then you throw in maybe a mutual option or team option towards the end. Obviously, I think the money you start at around 130, and you give him escalators that could take it all the way up to like 220, the Max Fried deal. And what's interesting is that when it came out about Max Fried, I'm sure we'll talk about that later, but the Red Sox it was reported that the Red Sox would, I guess, entertain throwing in deferred money after the 190 that they offered him, which is interesting. I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind. I didn't know that they would be, I guess, open to doing that until
they've done it in the past.
Yeah, but from what I know they've done in the past, but like from how I understand it, it would be like a lot more. Like it was from what I understand, it was going to be a big deal, like as far as like a bit like bigger than just like a little money on the side, like Manny Ramirez esque, I guess.
Dude, Chris Sale's last contract has like 5 years of extreme deferred money starting like in 2030.
Really? Okay.
Yes, no, I can pull it right now.
Yeah, no, I believe you.
It's too bad that the Braves aren't covering some of that. I feel like, I don't know, it would just be the right thing to do. Is all I'm saying.
The good news is that I don't think deferred money like that would hit directly. Like I don't think it's a tax hit.
No, it doesn't hit against the luxury tax.
Right.
It just hits against like the money you give out.
Yeah.
That's why Ohtani's deal, people throwing a bitch fit about it. It's like, at the end of the day, man, in terms of like building a team against the CBT threshold, he's still $44 million against the tax on average per year. He is. Like, yeah, but he's making $2 million actual cash. So,
yeah.
So I had this thought with Crochet after they got it. I don't really want him starting opening day. And that's not a knock on him. That's not saying that he's not the most talented pitcher on the staff, but I'd rather give it to Tanner Houck. He had an all-star season.
I'd rather give it to
let him have the honor, and then Crochet can have it after that. What do you guys think?
I think he earned it. He was unequivocally the best starter last year. I think you're right. For me, like it's between Houck and Bayo. I know Bayo didn't have as good of a season as Houck did, but like there was certain pockets of last year where Bayo looked like the best starter on the team, and there was also pockets of last year where he looked like the worst starter on the team. But I have no problem giving it to Houck at all. I think
of the guys currently on the roster, like you want to give it to Houck to reward him. Yeah, fine. And like, listen, as we record this, the Red Sox are apparently working with the Mariners potentially to get Luis Castillo. At least it's inferred to be Luis Castillo because we've already heard about them shooting down offers for Brian Wu and Bryce Miller. So like, it just leads that. Plus the Mariners don't like paying money for players. So, and Castillo has about $70 million left on his contract. But like, I saw another report earlier today. It was from one of the reputable guys saying they're not out on Burns yet. Yeah, to me, that's my opening day starters. Listen, how much are the Giants really willing to put on the table? They've been beat out for bids on superstar players pretty famously multiple times over the last couple of years. Like, are they absolutely sure they're really, really willing to put forward the money that Boris and that Burns want? Like, yeah, Burns prefers to be on the West Coast. David Price didn't want to be a Red Sox until they threw him enough money that it didn't matter. He's like, yeah, I'll come here. I'll come here for that price tag. So, like, listen, you have 50 million in tax space still. I mean, 35 mil for Burns over 7 years. I'd do that in a fucking heartbeat.
Yeah,
it's a nasty rotation. If you have Burns,
Bayo's your 5.
Crochet, Bayo,
Giolito.
and Giolito, I think, is going to be on the IL to start. So, but I mean, even if you just start with Crawford as your number 5 or something, like, that's
my God,
pretty good.
That's awesome. That is really good. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because, like, look, we had a rough day yesterday collectively as a fan base. It was
that's why
really
that's why the trade matters.
It was bad. Today was the complete opposite of that. Today was awesome. It seemed like, I guess, the Red Sox got knocked down by the Juan Soto thing, and then they stayed down for an extra day or two, and then they got back up, and then they started making moves today. Sorry, I didn't mean to. No, you're good. I love the fact that they went out and got Crochet, but I don't want this to turn into, the owners kind of hiding behind this in order to not spend money.
I mean, it wouldn't make sense to do that, though.
No, it wouldn't. But
much more stuff,
right? But would it put it past you for them to do that, though?
In this case, they didn't spend money; they spend prospects. So I would be very surprised.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
Thing is like, there is an argument to be made that they don't want to blow past the CBT threshold this year. You wait till next year after the young guys have a year under their belt, and like ideally they have a little bit of playoff experience, and then you go splurge, give Vladdy a mega contract, and then you fucking are booling.
Or at the deadline. I mean, they've done that before, where they went up to the tax threshold. They realized that they were in it at the deadline, and then they went out and got like a Kyle Schwarber type, or they got someone else, and then all of a sudden they're in the tax threshold, but for the right reasons. They've done that before. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that again. But even if they did do that, they still have
if you give Burns 35 mil per, you're still 15 under the tax.
Yeah, that's really fucking good.
I don't mean to burst your bubble, and maybe I'll sound like an idiot tomorrow for this, but I don't think that they'd be that far in the Seattle talks if they were planning on signing Burns on top of trading for one of the Seattle guys.
If you're willing, if you're getting
let's like Emerson or something.
If you're getting Castillo for Willier Cutter and then offloading Yoshida's contract, I mean, then I understand wanting to go the Castillo route. I think Castillo,
I like him.
I like Castillo.
I
think he's very, very good.
They need a veteran too.
He's a pitcher's pitcher. He is a veteran. He hasn't won yet, so he's hungry. If they do that, fine. Cool. I will be happy. I'm not going to throw a bitch fit about it. Plus, they'll still have financial flexibility. Plus, the extra 10 million or 15 mil with Yoshida off the books to go add hitting still. But I'm just saying.
You're replacing that with Castillo's money, so I think that you're just
true.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it'd be a net minus 5 mil. So you'd have 45
You're still getting Castillo on the cheap though for him,
Yeah, and Castillo's really good.
Can I tell you why I think Castillo would also be a perfect fit is because they don't have that veteran arm. They have, if they don't bring Pivetta back, which I really don't want them to.
No.
Who's the oldest guy in the rotation? Is it Houck? I guess Giolito's
Giolito.
He's never pitched for this team before. I think that having a guy like that to pair with Brian Bayo, also just another Dominican guy, I think that's it's a good mentorship to bring in a guy like Castillo, who is Bayo has not lived up to his contract yet. He's got a lot of time to do it, but he hasn't hit those expectations. I think Castillo's a guy that we can say has hit his expectations.
No, yeah, I think Castillo would be great. And there's argument made you do him, and then you can go still spend on a guy like Teoscar because it sounds like the Dodgers are out on him. And if the Dodgers are out on him, who are you bidding against?
Yourself.
You're just bidding against yourself, and all of a sudden Teoscar's on the team. All of a sudden that lineup's looking a lot more balanced. You still have Cassis on the team. Devers. Dude. You're shaping up to have a fucking wagon of a baseball team.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something though? I don't get me wrong on this. If they get Teoscar, I will be very happy. I think he is the best guy available to fit that role. I don't really care who they get to be the right-handed power bat. They've proven that they can get someone very effective, basically at will and for relatively cheap. So I would like them to get Teoscar. I think he'd hit 40 home runs at Fenway, but I'm not. If they don't get him, like, I'm not gonna.
No, dude, I love him. That's veteran experience. He won. He's now a winner. He won. Like, playoff experience. Can help mentor.
Yeah, like Justin Turner. Guys. Justin Turner was great. I'm not saying they should get Justin Turner back. I'm just saying that there are always guys like that available.
Just get Teoscar. The best guy available. Go get him.
Someone called Taylor Ward the other, I guess, what was it, yesterday when there was rumors of the Angels moving on from him. Someone was like Hunter Renfroe 4.0.
Yeah, it literally
like that's literally what it is.
Yeah, draw walks, which is nice, but if you're gonna trade for. I don't know why they're so opposed to just spending money on players. Like they hate they hate bidding wars. They just hate them so much. So like if they hate those, then fine. Just start extending your guys much younger and just bet on them then. Whatever.
Well, you can do that too.
Yeah,
you probably should be doing.
There's no reason not to.
Okay. So I mean, moving forward, another interesting tidbit that came out within the last few hours. The Padres are listening to offers on their star players.
Oh, that's interesting.
Per John Heyman.
Go get Machado.
Well, per Jared Carabas, I would give anything to have Fernando Tatis Jr. on the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, I agree. No price is too steep. It's Fernando Tatis Jr. That's the right-handed bat you need. One of the best defensive outfielders in the game. He's amazing. His contract is a fucking steal. Genuinely a steal for how much talent he has.
I can't imagine the Padres trading him. I can imagine them trading a lot of their guys. I can't imagine you trade
their ownership they have now is not the same as the dude who spent all the money. Like the dude like they have now is cheap. Like they want to shed salary.
What has happened to Preller's cocaine stash though? That's the really important question here.
What's his face has it?
Oh, did Dipoto get it?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
Dipoto has
it. That does change things.
I don't know. It's either him or Ross Atkins. Definitely, like got the stash. Like that Otter Cementos deal. Holy shit, that was terrible.
I like that. I like the idea that there's just this one cocaine stash that like is valued above all other cocaine stashes in baseball, and the GMs are all killing each other over it.
And they're all on the West Coast too. They're all not too far from each other. Yeah, I
would also say that, like, obviously calling in on Castillo, if the Padres players are available, you need to make a call on Dylan Cease. Like, absolutely make a call on, like, maybe, like, just at least gauge interest on the price because he has 1 year left till he hits free agency.
Yep. He would be a rental.
No, you need to, you'd need to make calls on Dylan Cease because, like, that's a guy you also just would pay because he's really
good. Well, now I'm curious. Who's their catcher? Who's their catcher right now?
It's like Kempa something. Luis Kempa.
Oh, Campusano?
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if one of their catchers
that's the starter
is available. I don't know. I'm literally
checking his Savant page right now.
Yeah.
Nope, he sucks. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Can't block, can't frame. He's Connor Wong. Okay, cool.
Okay, never mind. I don't think he didn't play that much either. Hang on, let me check their 2024 team. I feel like they have somebody because didn't it feel like the Padres just had a bunch of guys last year? Like that team was a unit. I don't know why they'd sell.
Yeah. Well, because they just seem like they always sell every year.
They also buy.
They do, but that's what I'm saying. Like I think what it is they get bored of who they have. They want to mix it up and they want to get rid of somebody and then get someone in.
Yoshioka was the other one. So yeah, they don't really have a catcher.
Right. Okay, yeah. I mean, I was
brought
just
in Elias
thinking
Diaz for like 12 games at the end of the year.
Yeah, you could just sign him though. I mean, that's.
I don't think that Dylan Cease's agent is Scott Boras, is it?
It is.
Fuck. God damn it.
It is.
Never mind.
Yeah.
That motherfucker's hitting free agency. Okay, cool.
Yeah, never mind. What about Joe Musgrove? What's up with him? What about you, Darvish? Bring in Darvish, and then Darvish helps you sign Sasaki because they're like BFFs.
Per Sasaki's agent, he actually doesn't want to have an older Japanese guy on his team as a pitcher. He doesn't want to.
But they're best friends.
He said, "I don't want
friendship, Hogdale."
He said, "I prefer not to have a senpai," which basically means an older coworker. And
did you just mansplain anime talk, Hogdale?
Yeah, I did because the normies who watch the show don't understand.
I don't understand, so I appreciate that.
Also, really? I took you as an under the radar weave, Justin.
A what? An under the radar what?
Weave. Like a weeb.
A weeb? Is that like a dweeb?
A weeb. No, a weeb. They're just like people that are into anime.
People who are into Japanese culture.
Oh no, I mean shit. I'm whatever. I like it.
I could see you like getting really into making sushi and having like the headband on and shit.
All I know about Sasaki is that the Sox chance is non-zero. Like that's what I know. That's what I know.
Just
he said he doesn't care about West Coast or East Coast.
I don't want you, Darvish, on the Red Sox. His contract is horrible. He's ancient. His contract's horrible. Joe Musgrove. I mean, whatever, dude. From what they're probably gonna want. I don't know.
I mean, I know who I would want. I would want him so much that I would be okay with Raffy moving off of third, and that's Machado. But I don't think the city of Boston is ready for that.
No. Yeah, I'm just gonna
imagine if he came here and then said, "I killed your god. I am your new god."
I'd respect it, but fuck it.
Oh man, dude, him playing at Fenway, and I can't because people are gonna fucking kill me. I can't do it.
This is a weirdly pro Manny Machado show, considering we're all sore.
2/3 of us, yeah. I don't think Hogdale is very pro Machado, but
he can go fuck himself.
Yeah.
I think you would learn to love him if he came to Boston.
He's a great player. He's probably going to be a Hall of Famer someday. But
he is. He's definitely going to be a Hall of Famer. He definitely is. But it's like he's one of those guys where it's like he's an asshole, but like as soon as he comes over to your team, he's like, yeah, he's our asshole.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
We did mention though that like prior to the Crochet trade, like things were getting pretty close to like nuclear, like in terms of the Sox fandom.
Well, it was bad though. It was bad, not just from like the fandom part. You look at this from any perspective on the Red Sox. Okay, you fail to get any pitching at winter meetings after making this giant deal about how this year's different. Like I was worried about this entirely for selfish purposes. Our ratings have gone up, our plays, our followers have gone up significantly since this offseason started. If they don't do anything, if they don't get anybody, we lose that very quickly. So for selfish purposes, I was like, oh my God, please do something.
Because more people watch when the team is worth a shit. And it's like, oh wow, maybe like hey guys, we're gonna be worth a shit. Like what? Oh dude, holy shit. Fuck it, let's tune in, let's lock in.
Yeah, let's listen to Hogdale. What does he have to say about this? And it's not just you incoherently yelling in rage.
No, my rage is always fucking coherent and has a point behind it. How dare
your microphone can't pick up it half the time.
Yeah, on StreamYard because the goddamn bandwidth can't handle it. Like it's not.
That is the definition of incoherence. No, it cannot be. It cannot be cohered.
No, man. Like when I'm screaming on fucking Twitch, it picks it up just perfectly.
I've noticed that. I've noticed that. I thought it was a microphone thing. I guess
no, it's just fucking StreamYard for some reason just can't handle girth.
Girth, yeah.
They cannot ignore your girth, Hogdale.
Yeah.
I just kind of want to put this offseason so far, like kind of in the scope of things, like as far as like how last night went when everyone was like losing their collective shit. Fried signed. We weren't on Fried. We wanted Fried. He ended up taking the extra year from the Yankees, and then that's that. As far as everyone else, though, I mean, everyone else that has signed so far, we wanted Snell. I just don't think he really entertained being on the East Coast. And then everyone else, huh?
I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Whatever. He wants to go to the Dodgers, so get in line. Everybody wants to go to the Dodgers. But as far as everybody else, though, I mean, Kikuchi, Eovaldi, Clay Holmes as a starter, no fucking thanks. Severino, Alex Cobb, Matt Boyd, Montas, absolutely not. I don't know. I feel like everyone had their sights set on Fried, and he ended up going to your rival, and that really pushed a lot of buttons across Twitter. And I mean, fucking hands up, I was right there with him. Dude,
my doomer side was starting to get the best of it because we've seen the story. We saw Full Throttle last year.
And also after the Soto stuff, there was a lot of buildup, and we kind of, I think, started to convince ourselves a little bit, like maybe there was a chance. And I mean, the Red Sox did offer $700 million. People scoff at that, but that was like, I was very surprised to see Henry go that far. That's
because like their words and like they don't mean anything. Like we know they don't mean it. Fucking do it. Yep. Like, and they finally did it. They did something.
They did.
And like, thank God they did. Like, I got so frustrated like the last week because I kept seeing these quotes. Like, shut the fuck up. Stop talking and do something.
Yeah.
Fucking losers.
Yeah.
No one cares.
You know what's better than talking about making moves? Actually making moves. Like this Crochet thing. Like and listen, you guys know that Crochet isn't my favorite pitcher, but I understand why they got him. And I understand why you need guys like that. And I understand that you have to pay to get them. Like you have to, even if it's prospect collateral, you can't just develop everybody. You have to go out and grab them.
The absolute worst I got was right before I went to bed. Like that fucking article from like Fine Stab where he's like, oh, the Red Sox could be eyeing a potential like reunion with Nick Pivetta. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm going to bed now. Like that's the biggest joke of all time.
Hogdale, I would rather masturbate with sandpaper than have Nick Pivetta be their big like acquisition. Like I would rather like just like fillet a hot iron thing.
Dude, it was
I'd
commit seppuku before fucking like willingly signing up for more Nick Pivetta. Like give me fucking it was terrible.
Fuck your eloquence, Hogdale.
Like it's just it
it's
was
so
a joke.
True, though.
It was a complete joke. What brought me back to reality was like our offer to Freed like came out, legit. And I'm like, that's a legit offer. Okay, cool. Yeah. So they aren't terrified of spending money. Yeah. It's just that the Yankees like one up them and like made a bit of a better offer. Okay, cool. Like I'm back to earth. And then immediately after that, they trade for Crochet. I'm like, okay, thank God.
Am I the only one that thinks in like 2 years the Yankees rotation is going to be super hamstrung between like Cole getting hurt probably and Rodon isn't going to stay healthy? And Freed is overdue for a pretty significant injury. Like it just seems like they're really wrapping themselves up in some very high-priced old men. I mean, I saw how well that worked for the Mets.
Yeah, it could be hamstrung this year. I mean, honestly.
Well, especially if the Tucker talks are true, and like they trade Luis Hill or something to get Kyle Tucker, who, by the way, like just yet to the Yankees' credit. Like, if you can't get Soto, Tucker's not a bad backup.
Tucker's like quietly been a top 10 player in baseball for like a half decade.
For sure. You got to extend him right away if you get him, because he's going to hit 1 million home runs with that short porch also. That's going to be a 45 home run guy. Better fielder, faster than Soto. Not as good of a hitter, obviously, but he's
good at everything. He's like the jack of all trades.
5-tool player.
He's but like he doesn't have the durability that Soto has. He's been dealing with injuries, and I mean, I find the Yankees, I'm looking for someone that's more like under control because you just went through this. Like I know, yeah, but it's not that easy. Like if it was that easy, I'd be like, fuck everything else. I want them to trade for Vladdy and then just extend him. Like it's not that easy. Like I don't know. If I was them, I would just be like cautious in doing this once again. Like I know, we saw it last year. They are not one other humongous piece. What?
Red Sox just made a trade.
Who?
Oh, and what?
Yankees catcher Carlos Narvaez for Elmer Rodriguez Cruz and international bonus pool space. And Manuel Valdez has been DFA'd.
Oh my God.
First of all,
I need to look up who the hell this guy is.
I'll say, first of all, fuck you. Like, who gives a shit?
Well, I don't know. Corresponding movies, obviously on the 40, man. I don't remember Narvaez. Okay, he made his debut last year. He had 13 at bats, 26 years old, Venezuelan. That's righty. Look up his framing, Hogdale. That's the important thing for you. I know. How'd he hit?
Omar Narvaez. You said this one's a prospect?
He's 26. He just got called up to the majors.
Okay, because there's another.
Okay, he hit 254 with a 370 on base percentage and a 412 slugging percentage at AAA last year.
There's not enough data to be found, like because he hasn't.
Okay, they don't do that stuff for the minors. Okay, yeah, 20. I mean, he's not a bad hit. He's not a bad AAA hitter. 20 doubles, 11 homers.
His catching from like the very limited amount is like league average at everything, like 50th percentile at everything, which is better than what they have. Fair enough.
You know what, though? He's better than Mickey Gasper.
He is. I mean, if they see something in Narvaez, they think that like, he's a good framer. If he's really got a good defensive profile, fine. That's a good upgrade. Yeah, I mean, good trade.
I guess. I don't know.
The Yankees have catcher depth. That's the thing is they don't need him. Like they're like,
they just
this guy's
traded
not going to play at all.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
at
just
least it's not
updating my
Ben
depth
Warfet.
chart now.
Get Ben
Yeah.
Warfet. Give me a fucking break.
That was weird. I did not expect that. I thought it was going to be a Seattle trade, but just trading
It was a
with the
small
Yankees
one.
once again. By the way, in the Rule 5 draft, I know that's over. Did we get a Yankees hitter or pitcher? Does anybody know?
I'm not sure. They got a bunch of guys, but I honestly haven't had time to look at. Who
I
they
didn't look
actually
either.
got yet.
I don't believe the Red Sox were able to pick on the Rule 5 because the 40
No, but there was the minor league
The
portion
minor
of it,
league
which is where they
portion.
got.
Oh,
They've
okay.
taken a guy from the Yankees every year for the last, I think, 6 years.
6 years.
It
Yeah.
keeps working, so good job.
Yeah.
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 So just so you guys know, the trade off for that one, Elmer Rodriguez Cruz, decent enough pitching prospect. He lost a little bit of luster in the last in the last season just because of the development of other pitchers. But he's 21 years old. He was 25th in the system. Right-handed. He was a 4th-round pick back in 2021. Coming off a pretty decent year, but that saw him post a 2.51 ERA over 61 innings at single A and a 3.77 ERA over 28.2 innings at high A. So, decent enough pitching prospect, but other guys have surpassed him, so he was expendable. And it's not like there were a lot of good catchers available. And I mean, that doesn't prevent them from signing another catcher just because, do you want Mickey Gasper having to come up and play significant catching innings? Probably not.
I don't know. I'm not really putting much thought into this, honestly. It's good for catching depth, like you said, but I don't know.
I'm trying to find out who said this, but apparently another article just came out pretty recently, and apparently Bregman right now is not a priority for the Sox.
That's fine. Oh yeah, that was something we haven't talked about. That was going to be there was report because that was the reason that I started to be a little concerned was that there were talks of infighting coming out about it was
that was the biggest joke of the day.
Alex Cora and unlikely ally Waylon Smithers up against the rest of the Red Sox organization. Sorry, I said I mean Sam Kennedy and Alex Cora. Why does Kennedy have a voice in this?
I don't know. I don't really know. Maybe because he has Cora's back for. I don't know. It doesn't make much sense that the guy here and then the guy above the next guy agree, but then the guy in the middle doesn't agree. You don't normally see that.
Is it just a marketing thing? Hey, that's a recognizable name. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate Bregman as the second baseman if they were to bring him in. I don't want him to take over at third because his arm strength is really deteriorated. But if he's your second baseman, he can back up at third. He can back up at first. It's a nice right-handed bat.
Yeah, I have no problem with him as a third baseman because obviously he's much better than Devers is, but I just don't think now is the time to move Devers off of third base.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
With his supposedly deteriorating arm, 91st percentile out of average, still pretty fucking good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's phenomenal. But the other thing too is that you have a really good insurance policy in case Devers gets hurt, and you have Bregman there to play third base now. All of a sudden, before if he was playing second base full time. That's a really good thing to have. I'm sure he could at shortstop too from time to time. He came up as a shortstop, so I don't know.
Against lefties.
Yeah, I would welcome the move if for the right price, and it seems like it's between the Astros getting him back and the Red Sox and the Yankees, and I think there's probably another team involved there somewhere, but.
I got where the article was from, and there's more notes. It's Ken Rosenthal. Ken Rosenthal. What?
No, I'm going to read you something that I just saw about Narvaez, but I want you to. I'll get to that.
Okay, so some notes from about the Red Sox from Ken Rosenthal. Corbin Burns likely out of John Henry's comfort zone.
Fine.
Alex Bregman not a priority at the moment. Pitching options they're looking at include Sean Manaea, Jack Flaherty, Nick fucking Pivetta. Shut up. Luis Castillo trade. And
Flaherty.
Then. Arenado trade's still a possibility, and then Teoscar and Anthony Santander are still both options for them.
Santander is also an interesting option too. I think I brought this up. I don't know when I brought this up, but in a nutshell, the reason we wanted Soto is because it's like a caveman take, but good bat, and then you can put him in left field. Santander, same thing, except he's a righty. So that he's a switch hitter, but hits lefties really well. I don't know. I mean, for the right price, I wouldn't mind it. I mean, he could give you 35, 40 home runs in a season. But there's still options. There's still a lot of moves to be made, man. I'm now excited again.
I like Flaherty of those guys the most, just because I think he's a good pitcher and he doesn't cost you the qualifying offer. So fine,
sign me up.
Dude, I'll take Jack Flaherty any day of the week. Flaherty plus Crochet is a fucking banger offseason in terms of pitching.
I'm fine with that.
And the other thing too is that going into this offseason, everyone was slating Flaherty to be a Dodger because he was just on the Dodgers.
From around there,
exactly. And now all of a sudden, they went out and they got Snell, and now Flaherty is okay, now what? I guess so.
I've heard no rumors about him.
No, I haven't heard anything. It's weird. Him and Pete Alonso haven't heard a single fucking thing, which is crazy.
Well, the only thing I've heard about Flaherty is loose, maybe he goes to Detroit, but it's okay. Is that really that appealing?
I don't know.
You get to team up with Scooble. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been teamed up before though. That's the thing. Does he want to go back to that? Or does he want to do his own thing? Nope. I think he thrived in LA, honestly.
Yeah, the team Detroit did go on that run without Flaherty, so that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, of the second tier arms left, I think Flaherty's the best one. I get Flaherty.
Flaherty's easily the best second tier arm. I mean, I had him ranked as the 8th best free agent overall. He was below the Snell, Fried, Burns, Sasaki tier, but after them, he's the best guy. I take him over Minaya in a heartbeat.
I personally would rather have Buehler. I know you're cautious about double TJ guys and stuff, but I mean, I think people forget how good Buehler was, man. But before this year, I mean, when he had a full season,
his last full season was 2021.
But
it's been a while.
Bro, we saw him in the World Series, and he was just a fucking dog, man. He closed out the World Series, I believe, right? Didn't he?
Yeah, Chris Sale did too, and then what happened?
Okay. My point is, I just I like him, and you know what? Everyone talks about how there's no such thing as a bad 1-year contract. Give him a 1-year contract. See where it goes. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that for me. I don't know.
Give an option with it because he's gonna want. I think that he's gonna want something similar to the Bieber deal, which was I think 14 million with a 16 million player option.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Sorry, the thing that I was reading, by the way, Hogdale will appreciate this about Narvaez. Defensively, Narvaez is gifted. He has smooth hands and fluid receiving method, giving advantage to his pitchers. His blockability is good, and his ability to move behind the dish is noticeable. He is aggressive with back picks to both corners and can throw down with a strong arm.
Sounds good to me.
Thank God.
Yeah, that seems like somebody you'd like, Hogdale.
And they got creative. They paid nothing for him, basically. That's a good job, Craig. You did your job.
International money, so yeah.
A couple years ago, this team was hoarding any pitching prospect they could get their hands on. Now all of a sudden, you're in a position where you can give some up and not feel it.
Yeah, I mean, it helps with Rodriguez Cruz too. Is that if you drew me a picture of somebody that looked like he was going to need Tommy John surgery, it looks sort of like Elmer Rodriguez Cruz, and he's very skinny, and he just added 4 miles an hour on his fastball, which cool, but also that feels like an exploded elbow, Yeah,
fair. Wow, interesting. Okay.
Hell, fucking yeah. Trying to think of what else is on the docket. I think we've hammered out the most important shit for the most.
They're not trading Casas.
Let's not say. I don't want to say that, and then tomorrow we find out that he's been traded. Let's not jinx this, please. As of
December 11th at 8:12 Eastern Standard Time, they are not going to be trading Casas.
Yeah, and that's per one Alex Spear, who basically is no.
No, Alex Spear said that's not exactly it. He asked if it was Casas for Castillo, and they said no. It might be Casas for something else. So I just don't want to. I don't want to jinx nothing.
I just don't want Craig to kill my vibe because that will obliterate my fucking vibe.
Justin, are you growing a Fu Manchu?
Am I growing a what?
A Fu Manchu. The
No,
angle made it
no.
look like you had a Fu Manchu. Have you ever considered growing one? I think it would be a good look for you.
No, my face is too fat to do that. No, I can't do it because I have like when I get rid of the sideburns and stuff, like I just it's not a good look, man. And my wife would fucking kill me too. So
Hogdale, doesn't your dad have a Fu Manchu?
Fu Manchu.
Yeah.
Are you looking that up? Do you
about.
not know what that is?
I don't know what that is.
It's like the mustache that goes down to like just there.
I feel like that.
It's Camboozer.
Yeah. I feel like that terminology is from a much more racist time period.
It's what it's called. I don't know a better name for it.
No.
If you want to correct me, I'm fine with that.
I guess
it's a Fu Manchu.
Handlebar mustache is like similar.
Okay, yeah, my dad does not.
I know it's different.
No, it's not a
similar.
handlebar mustache. It's.
I didn't know that's what it was called,
It's
but like, yeah, I see what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, would you grow one of those, Hogdale?
No.
What if the Red Sox win the World Series? Then would you grow one?
Maybe if I was dependent on it, then yeah, I probably would.
Okay, so I'm gonna just put it out there that Hogdale is gonna grow a Fu Manchu so that the Red Sox will win the World Series, and if he doesn't and they don't, it's entirely his fault.
Okay. Put that in the notes.
Sorry, I'm having some COVID delirium right now.
No, I've never thought about doing that.
Oh
honestly.
my god,
I really haven't. I like my my facial hair situation as it stands. I think I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah,
so.
It's a handsome show we've got.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Brady said he liked the trade. I just want you guys to know that.
Good.
He called me because he couldn't come on today, but he wanted.
Now it's official.
Wanted you guys to know that Brady approves of the Crochet trade.
Yep, I love the trade. Extend him if that's what he wants. Make him happy. He's your guy now. But it'll be nice to see. I think tomorrow the winter meetings, it's a half day, and then everyone goes home after that. Usually things don't happen on the last day of winter meetings.
I thought today was the last day for some reason.
I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow. I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow. Maybe not.
Well, maybe we'll get another trade by tonight. I'm glad. I kind of like this. I low key like this Narvaez move. I actually think that it's a pretty
it's smart.
That's move.
They needed it.
I bet you that Valdez doesn't even get claimed.
Probably not. If anybody with functioning eyes saw him play defense, he will not get claimed.
Hey, Hogdale, remember the first week of the season when you tried to convince me that he could play adequate defense?
It was for the meme. It was. That is my defense. It was for the meme. Because I thought it was really funny seeing how upset you got anytime I tried to imply that Emmanuel Valdez could play defense.
Yes, because he can't. He's not good at it.
He wasn't very good at offense either for most of the season.
It's a shame too, because I feel like he's the kind of guy that if he was with a team that sucked and just let him play, he'd probably end up having a pretty decent season. But it's not happening here. It's just not. He needs to be a DH.
He needs to be a DH, and no one wants to claim a full-time DH at his age.
No,
it doesn't make much sense.
No, even Yordan Alvarez, who could totally be fine being a full-time DH, he's like, no, I want to play the outfield. It's cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I like Valdez. I'll always call him Little Soto. I think those go back to funny times indeed. Hope he lands somewhere. I think Japan would be good for him. Team him up with Franchi there. Fuck yeah, and Bobby Dahlbeck too.
I just want Bobby to go to the Rockies. I just want Bobby to. I just want to see him at Coors Field.
I just want Bobby to never play baseball for the Boston Red Sox ever again.
I think Bobby wants to never play baseball for the Boston Red Sox ever again.
But yeah, by the way, Rosenthal got specific as to Henry, his logic for not wanting to give out a big pitching contract. It's because he got burned on Sale and Price, which is get away.
Okay, you know what? Here's my argument for that. What else do Sale and Price have in common?
They're left-handed.
Won a World Series with you.
They won a World Series, exactly. Thank you. So I don't
their left-handedness.
Well, no,
No.
I mean, yes, yeah, they are both
I know,
left-handed,
Ed,
but like,
I was talking with Ed earlier, and he's like, we were talking like long contracts. I'm like, oh yeah, and the Nats sure regretted giving Scherzer that contract. It's like, okay, yeah, well that's the outlier. What about David Price? I'm like, you won a World Series with him. What's the fucking problem?
Okay, what about Steven Strasburg? What about Jordan?
They won a World
Zimmerman?
Series with him. What's the
won a
fucking
World Series.
problem?
Yeah, exactly.
What's the
Yeah,
issue?
they never pitched again after that. They had how
But
much money did he get to do
worth
nothing?
it. It's worth it. It's worth it. If you win a ring, it's worth it. I know.
Would you rather win a World Series with a guy that you're spending like however much money on for 5 years after, or would you rather spend it on a guy that you're using after that? Like, I don't think that them winning the World Series was contingent on these guys getting hurt after.
On David Price, it definitely was contingent on him playing for that team. Like if he was not on the team, they don't win the World Series.
Yes.
I do think it was really stupid that they had to include him on the Mookie trade. That was the worst part. I think that's the part of that trade that, yeah, just the absolute dumbest part.
They're like, oh yeah, we're galaxy branding this. We're doing the Josh Beckett, Adrian Gonzalez trade again, and this is how
I like that trade because I hated Beckett. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
but I didn't hate Price. Price was fine.
Price was fine, and like. I don't know. I enjoyed Price. I'd love to get him on the podcast if we can ever do that in one day by miracle. That'd be really fucking cool. Like you don't ever see him on shows. Like he doesn't really like speak out. Like I know I think he has a Twitter account, but like I'm not. I don't really ever see it pop up on my side. That'd be really cool.
The funniest thing about Price's Boston tenure is he was never bad. It's not even close, really. Like fucking,
he was just never as good as what the contract implied he would be.
Damn, I mean,
but he was never bad. I agree.
Yeah, 3.99 ERA, then a 3.38 and a 3.58 in 2019. It fell off a little bit, 4.28, and then COVID, and then he wasn't on the team anymore.
Yeah, you're right. Honestly, like he never had an ERA plus under 112, which even that is like, and in that season, he had an ERA plus of 112. He pitched 230 innings, so that's pretty fucking good. But yeah, you're right. He never really lived up to the contract.
He's one of the most overhated players of all time on the right. Like he helped win you a World Series. Give me a fucking break.
Yeah, unnecessarily hated. Yes.
There were reasons that people hated him that had nothing to do with anything that David Price actually did.
That people hate him because like people are like old people watch the Red Sox and like fucking get upset. Like, cool.
Yeah, we don't need to go into the reasons because I don't need to have my my mentions full again of just people being angry. But we all know why people didn't like David Price here. We all know.
Are you referring to the Eckersley incident?
No, I'm sure that gave them an excuse, though.
Yeah, I think like that unfairly painted him as a really bad guy. When in reality, I
think that people were predetermined that he was a bad guy before that.
Yeah, because this is a guy that beat you multiple times on multiple teams, and he came across as someone who like. A lot of people before he signed here, everyone looked at him as like an enemy. It's kind of like Manny Machado in a way. I guess not as bad, maybe, but similar.
I mean, in terms of bad Red Sox contracts, does David Price even enter the top 5?
No.
Like we fucking gave out some fucking dog shit contracts, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you already have Sandoval, Crawford. Let's be real, Hanley. All of that one.
If you want to be realer, right now, Trevor Story's contract is worse than David Price's contract is. I mean,
the sale extension.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say that.
The sale extension is actually worse than all of them. And it's not even his fault. He got injured.
Yeah.
But it's worse. It's still worse.
It was horrible.
Yep.
Story can still be redeemed if he just stays healthy.
I like Story. I really do. Like he grew on me this year. I think he felt doesn't he kind of just feels like a Red Sox. Maybe it's the beard. I don't know.
He's got good vibes, man. Like like
great fielder. Really good fielder.
Fighting for his life to come back early to play for that Red Sox team. Like you're a good dude and you're cool in my book. Because who the fuck would want to play on that Red Sox team last year? Mid-incarnate.
Yeah. I mean, you had like two polar opposites. You had Kenley Jansen, who just like couldn't be bothered, didn't know anybody's name. At all. Yeah, didn't want to be there. You just fucking checked out. And then Trevor Story, who is literally doing the complete opposite. He wants to check in, after being told that he wasn't going to play anymore for the rest of the season. Now all of a sudden he's coming back, and it's like, he's a fucking grinder, man. He you know what I mean? I really like that about him.
Can I tell you though, having time to process it and everything, I don't hold it against Kenley. Like he was promised something very different than what he was given, and I don't blame him for being pissed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We don't have to rehash this, but like,
yeah,
he was promised something, sure, but everyone was promised something. I mean,
but like,
I don't know.
But everyone else isn't a Hall of Fame closer. Like, I'm Kenley Jansen, go fuck yourself. That's me.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. I mean, he's out there to be had. He's never going to come here.
No, absolutely not.
Definitely not.
I feel like tweeting like one of those, like, I guess the other day someone tweeted, if Juan Soto signs with the Mets, I will eat an entire gallon of human shit.
Yeah, I retweeted that. He didn't do it. It's really disappointing.
They never do it. They all never fucking do it. I just feel like tweeting that if Kenley Jansen re-signs with the Red Sox, I'll like fucking, I don't know. I'll eat a fucking bed comforter or something. I don't know, but that's how people get.
You were just looking at a bed comforter, weren't you?
I'm literally looking at my hotel bed comforter. Yeah.
Love that.
It's right over there. Yeah.
Great emergency pod, guys. I think this is our first ever emergency pod because there wasn't a reason to do one last year.
Yep.
No, there was not.
No, not at all. Oh yeah, they signed Lucas Giolito, emergency pod, guys.
And he's hurt.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Crochet, awesome. Keep going. Hopefully we can do another emergency podcast tomorrow if we get Castillo or Bregman. That'd be fucking cool.
Yeah. Oh, God. This is going to be totally irrelevant if, like, a Seattle trade goes down between now and when we post the episode.
Yeah, like 5 minutes.
Like, that's the problem. Like, we didn't do this first one because it was like, well, something's going to happen. And then it almost looked like nothing was going to happen. And then, when the Crochet trade happened, it was like, okay, I guess we have to record.
Yeah. 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 Fuck yeah, man. They finally did it.
We finally did it. We finally did it. We finally did it. We finally did